When it comes to learning a language, I think there are three different stages that people often find themselves in, and it's very possible that you may just stay in one level the entire time, and that's perfectly okay. But I think you want to understand what are the advantages and disadvantages of each of those, so you kind of decide, is it worth it to make the next step, or is it maybe just better to stay where you currently are. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your daily American English pronunciation show. Wake up, American. We are here Monday through Friday in the morning to make sure that you can get in your 5 to 10 minutes of pronunciation practice for today. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hello, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. It's one of the four keys to a natural sound in American English pronunciation, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonant sounds and strengthen your vowel sounds. We're joined today by Emmanuel and Milad, both of whom are members of our programs. Milad, we didn't see yesterday because Milad's starting school. So I'm guessing he's been super busy. Milad, you've been doing the things, you've been talking to people. Keep us posted on your journey. But let's talk about what these levels are. And actually, I guess technically there's like more like four levels because the very first level I think of language learning is that you're interested in a language, but you don't do anything about it. You're like one of those people that's like, oh, like I would love to speak. Insert your name of language here. I would love to be able to do that. Or like, oh, I love the idea of speaking a second language or a third language, but you don't actually do anything about it. You just kind of think about it. It's just like a goal you have. It's not even a goal. It's a wish. What's the difference between like a wish and a goal? A wish you don't make any real action towards, whereas like a goal you're like moving in the direction towards, right? So you're not really expending any energy, and I get it. One of the reasons you're probably not doing that, if you find yourself in that camp, is your day's already full. You only get a certain amount of time, and if you dedicate time to learning a language, then you lose time doing other things. There is an opportunity cost. I get it. Okay. No judgment there. But maybe after that you decide to take it to the next level. So what's the level beyond that? Well, maybe you're prepared to start taking action. And so what is that action? You might not be ready to start spending some cash on this, but what you're doing is you maybe are signing up for apps. You're on your Duolingo like 200-day streak. You've got some dictionary apps, maybe even read some things online. You're kind of in that free category where you're investing time, but not really a whole lot else, right? You're just kind of getting in it that way, and that's cool. You can get very far on that. There's lots of strategies, and in fact, there's probably even like a 1A category where you pay for higher levels of those apps and things like that. Maybe you sign up for like a Pimsleur course. For those of you I'm not familiar, there's a language strategy called Pimsleur where basically the Pimsleur method is basically it's an audio program. I mean, nowadays they have like an online website, but what they do is basically just repeat you like key phrases over and over and over again. You just kind of drill the language into you over time. This strategy is like an audiolingual strategy, which was really popular post World War II. And it can work. It can be pretty effective, especially from like a speaking and listening perspective. It does take some time, but it's kind of almost treating it. You're almost learning almost like a baby in that regard. It's also very structured. You don't get a lot of grammar guidance and things like that. But maybe so. Long story short, maybe you're like signing up for like a program like that, but you're not yet ready for a teacher, or you haven't really yet considered a teacher, and that's fine. You can get pretty far on that level if you want, but you have to be. The problem is you have to be super dedicated to it, and you have to do it right. If you're just doing kind of like that 10 minutes a day, I mean, the average for learning a new language is in the hundreds of hours, so it's going to take you a long time with that. Okay, so maybe that's where you're at. Let me know where you guys are. Are you a zero for anything? Are you a one or 1A for anything? Just kind of focusing on apps, because the next step is then a level two, I would say, where now you're like, you know what, I'm going to actually start taking classes. Okay, and this is a great step. You're to making an investment in yourself, not only in terms of time but also monetarily, which can which can push you a little bit further. Okay, very often people in this step are either choosing teachers based off of for instance, like the size of their program, because you're scared. You know you want to trust something, so you pick people that seem like they're really big in the business. Okay, or for instance, another strategy that you pick is you use an online platform that's more based around price. So, for instance, like your italkies, your Prepleys, your Cambly's, um, your programs like that. Okay. Um, or you may even start looking into things like language centers, perhaps even in countries that speak the language. So maybe you're in that step as well, which should make an investment. The only downside with this, well, one is, I mean, it's going to cost you money, but that's not necessarily a downside, depending on what you get from the investment. The big downside is that a lot of people stop here because they get too comfortable. You feel like you're doing the thing, so you don't push yourself to really do the thing. And for me, the next step is really trying to do the thing. So my goal, if I'm learning a language, my goal is to break out of that second level as soon as possible into the third level, which is when we actually start seeking native speaking opportunities. Because it is 2024, there are so many opportunities now that didn't even exist like 10 to 15 years ago. Like when I was in school, I was like, man, I wish this stuff was around when I was learning more actively. And so, because nowadays, and we've talked about there's sites like, for instance, Eventbrite or meetup.com. Again, events, EVENT, Bright, BRITE, eventbrite.com, meetup.com, where you can find events, oftentimes online events, designed around native speakers, and you can attend them. So, like, I mean, you're getting that firsthand experience. You're talking with native speakers, no matter where you are. You can find events in your city, or you can find events online, but there's native speakers there talking about things that you're interested in. But the problem is, a lot of students don't do that. They stick with the second level because they get comfortable. They're like, I'm moving towards my goal. I'm happy. When in reality, they're actually using classes almost as a form of laziness because they're not willing to take the next step, or they're afraid, or they're not willing to put in the time and the investment to find the right opportunity for them. And they're like, I'm already moving forward, so I'm just going to stick with my class. So I think if you're trying to look for really meaningful change, and if you're trying to get out of that second level, then I think the question you need to be asking yourself is, where can I find native speakers interested in topics I'm interested in, and I can communicate with them, you know, outside of just, moving to the country. Because even if you move to the country, that's not going to solve your problems either. There's plenty of people who move to, for instance, the US, and their English actually gets worse. It's all about the community you put yourself in. I think you need to start thinking about, how can I start an English speaking community around me as soon as possible. Okay. I do have to run to a class, guys, but again, just kind of want you thinking about, where is your level? Why are you in that level? What are you doing? Let me rephrase, are you interested in moving beyond that level? And if you are interested in moving beyond that level, what is stopping you from doing it? And you need to be honest with yourself. You can let me know in the comments and in the chat where you are in the journey. Thank you guys for your time. I got to run to class, but I hope you guys all have a good day, good night, good afternoon. Once more, my name is Jeff. Runs with breaths. One 4 keys to a natural sound American English, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your constant sound, strengthen your vowels. I will see you all later. Hope you have a good day, a good night, and a good afternoon. Take care. Bye.